What up, what up, what up? It is the Sick Podcast, Rams Recap, Episode 2. We're going to be diving into some few things and obviously recapping the game and looking ahead. Please hit my intro right now.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to the Sick Podcast. Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones.
They rush forward. Burrow to throw for it. He's hit. He's hit. He's sacked. He throws it away. He flings it away on fourth down. Aaron Donald got there, and you can build that man's statue out SoFi Stadium right now. The greatest of all time on defense does it in the biggest moment of Super Bowl 56.
The sickest Los Angeles Rams podcast. It's gonna be sick.
You know what? We need to get that statue outside of SoFi Stadium today. As of yesterday, we need to get that out there, but that's news we'll get into later. But I want to bring in a dear friend of mine from the fantasy space, from the fantasy industry, and from outside of it. This is my brother in arms, Jorge Martin, staff writer for the Fantasy Life. My guy, ring me, my brother, ring me.
Mi amigo, thank you. Muchas gracias for having me. This is awesome. I'm so happy and proud of you for the Sick Podcast Network. Hey, finding one of my favorite, if not my favorite Ram fan. It don't take long to call roll. So, mi amigo, thank you. Muchas gracias. This is awesome.
Look, my first guess, I had to go back into the phone book. I'm like, you know what? What am I looking for, bro? I already know who I'm going to bring on. I'm going to bring my Rams brother, LA native. Man, we saw our first Dodgers game together.
Yes.
Well, not yours, but my first Dodgers game. But, you are all LA, brother. I'm so happy to have you here. And we're going to deep dive into the Rams, obviously. But we're going to look at that last game, man. First off, on the spot, your reaction to the game.
You know what? I love that, it really felt like this was the first game where Stafford was really synced up with both Puka and with Cooper. They looked great. Cooper looked completely healthy. Man, that 69-yard bomb was just I rewatched the game, and then they replayed it from a different angle, and it showed how close the DB was to tipping the ball. But he just threw it perfectly. Cooper Kupp was completely in stride, just phenomenal. To me, the play of the game though was Braden Fisk's strip sack. That one.
Oh my God. We are going to dive into the trenches a little bit later on the show because I cannot wait to get into that O-line and that D-line, man. Because on the last pod, I compared that D-line to back in the day when we had Michael Brockers, Chris Long, when we had Aaron Donald on the line with
young Aaron Donald.
Oh my God. This is what that line reminds me of, but we'll get into that a little bit. But man, this game, like you hit on, you said the key things. It looked like we were back in sync. Puka Nacua healthy, Cooper Kupp healthy, Matthew Stafford having both of his weapons on the perimeter and in the slot, having that ability to sit in the pocket and dice up the defense. Like the Patriots, they're not a defense that you can sleep on, honestly. That secondary is young, they're physical, and they fly around. Jack Jones, Christian Gonzalez, Gunzo Island is what I call it because all the notable wide receivers in the league, he's put straps on, So this was not an easy win when you look at it outside of looking on the game. On paper, it looks like easy. It's just the Patriots. I'm pretty sure you and I were looking at the schedule probably a couple weeks ago, oh, that's a win. But when we really look at this game, we shouldn't have been writing off Drake May. Let me hear your reactions of Drake May of how he's been just ascending.
He really is. He looks so comfortable back there when the Rams weren't in his face, which was not often. But no, he looks like he's going to be a player in this league, and that to me is wonderful because we need more quarterbacks. And God knows the Patriots faithful have been suffering such a long time without a good quarterback.
Oh yeah, right.
But you know what? I think once they get a good weapon or two around him and maybe beef up that offensive line, they give him a little bit of time. But no, the Rams were definitely giving him some problems. But you know what? That to me was great because he really showed kind of like, that he hung in the pocket, and he didn't get happy feet or anything like that. And he's got he's got those wheels. He's got those sneaky wheels, like him and Bo Nix. I mean, those guys that you don't expect to be like running like Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
But
for fast.
Yeah, sneaky fast
is what we call it. Like even Sean McVay even gave Drake May his props of like that pressure that was getting to him. He stood in the pocket, stared down the barrel of the gun, and was able to get the ball off multiple times. This wasn't just like one play. So credit to Drake May getting that off and just ascending in his play. But I really want to hit on this secondary real quick. We got some guys. Like we got some high flyers back there, like Jalen McLaughlin. And then you look at Cam Curl, you look at Cam Kitchen. Oh my God, these guys
were the best plays.
Yeah, they make the big plays. And looking at Cam Kitchens taking that interception, sealing the game, like what are your thoughts on how his play is just elevated from the beginning of the season till now? Like I'm excited to see him make the plays every time he's on the field. And like, man, like this has just been a great secondary, just developing through the season, learning on the job. Like they're playing really good football right now.
To me, I think that's been one of the underrated signatures of Sean McVay, the Sean McVay coaching staff, that they really kind of, they really drill down these guys, because a lot of these guys are new. It's a new defensive coordinator with Chris Shula. Granted, he'd been there before, so there is some continuity. But this was not a heralded a defensive backfield. There's no Sauce Gardner back there. There's no Christian Gonzalez back there. No, it's guys that have to work together, and they have to really sync up with that pass rush to be able to, like and so that to me has been really one of the things that has been a pleasant surprise, both there and also on against the run, because because the first half of the season, this was a defense that you really could attack on both fronts, both the run and the pass, but they've gotten better. I mean, this game they played so well. I thought they had a really good game, even though it wasn't a good result with the victory against Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. So I think there's some. By the way, shout out Troy King for that one. He was very quiet for both of us. So
we can eat yellow snow. We don't bring him up on my podcast. I will text him after and tell him to eat yellow snow. I hope he's watching, because he is not going to be mentioned ever again on the Rams podcast. Don't give him no flowers for the Dolphins beating us. This is not what we're doing here.
Unless we're meeting in the Super Bowl, we got to bring him on. But no, I tell you, that secondary is going to be a problem in the second half. In the second half, because there's going to be some good games. There's going to be the Josh Allen game this week against Jalen Hurts. There's going to be there's going to be the 49ers coming up. They're going to get tested, and it's going to be fun watching that. But the great thing is, even if they get tested, and maybe some slip through, that offense can really go blow to blow, I think, with anybody.
Dude, you brought up stopping the run. That was one of the areas that I've been pulling my hair out for the beginning of the season. But it was one of the areas that I could not stress enough. Like, what are we doing? Like the missed tackles. And look, on this podcast, on this platform, I chose that I love my team and I would never single anybody out. Like I'm never going to say this player's doing this, but collectively, the linebacker group, we were missing tackles. That was one of the biggest areas that just got on my nerves. And that's been the problem for the last 2 seasons. We could not find a duo or even a trio of linebackers that can stop the run. But there's one name that has stepped up when Troy Reeder went on IR. Omar Speights. This guy is a run stopper. He has 0 missed tackles since he started. Since he's been starting in the last 3 to 4 games, he has 0 missed tackles. This guy is making a huge impact in the run game, and this is exactly why we're hitting on all 3 fronts. You're hitting on the D line. Linebackers are stopping the run. They're making the tackles when these little slot wide receivers get off. Demario Douglas, he got off on a couple, but there were some times where he was taken completely out of the play. This is because of Omar Speights, and then you have that secondary that's very disciplined, but they're also ball hawks because we're getting takeaways now. Everything is hitting on all 3 cylinders when it comes to this Rams defense, and this is what's going to make I like to say it, we're dangerous again. We
Absolutely.
are the most dangerous team in the NFL because we're killing it on defense, and we have a healthy O-line, which I want to transition to in a moment.
Yes.
Where Matthew Stafford is getting time to let the play develop, let Sean McVay open up the playbook. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp running wild. And I can't forget about DeMarcus Robinson as well, because he's playing a huge part as well, Jorge, as you know, as Red Zone Robinson, I like to call him.
Yes.
All the attention is going to be on Cooper Kupp. It's going to be on Puka Nacua making those outstanding catches, circus catches he was doing. But DeMarcus Robinson is the secret weapon when it comes to that red zone, man. But let's transition.
Can I just add one thing? One thing on D-Rob. You know, before the season, I did on my Familia FFP podcast, I did a NFL Insider Series, and Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic sat down with me, and DeMarcus Robinson was one of the players that she really called out as a sleeper this season, because she was saying that that Matthew Stafford loves an X receiver, and a big X receiver, and he fit that perfectly. And you know what? That's the thing. You cannot sleep on him. That's how he got 4 downs in 2 games, and that because yeah, if they're extra attention on those guys, you got that big X receiver that's going to be healthy. Matthew Stafford loves those big guys. So we always end up talking fantasy. I think he's a guy that could be an end of your flex play, especially in some of these games coming out. Because remember, last year, when did he come up the best? It was during the last few weeks of the season. So D-Rob, big ups to him.
That's what I'm saying. He took over week 11, and he just was one of those guys that was like, he just kept showing up. Like, yo, who is this guy? Like, what is he doing? Why is he catching touchdowns? Why is he leading the Rams in end zone targets? What is going on?
Yep.
This is one of those things where I think as a complete offense, this is what makes us so dangerous. There's guys that will step up. Tutu will step up. Jordan Whittington is developing perfectly as a slot wide receiver, being a valuable target for Matthew Stafford if Cooper Kupp is going to be hurt. Like, guys are stepping up. And speaking of stepping up, we're in the trenches now. We're diving in. We're in the O-line. This O-line played its best game the entire season. This combination of the O-line, I got it right here. When you look at how we've been doing all season, like, it's just been constant pressures, constant sacks on Matthew Stafford, guys going unblocked. But we had the perfect combination of the O-line last game where we allowed Matthew Stafford 0 sacks. 0. And that's the third time this happened this season. In the last 3 or 4 games, only 2 sacks allowed, people. And that was in the Dolphins game where they were doing all those weird design, different looks. And, you know, guys were stepping up. But the center, Bo Limmer,
unsung hero,
needs to be the starter. He gets my game ball. I'm about to grab this and just give him the game ball. Like, he is literally helping this O-line, this combination of O-line that they're starting to figure out, where you have Arcline Jackson, you have Steve Lavilla and Bo Limmer and Kevin Dotson, and then there's the alternate between the Rob Havenstein and the backups. When Rob Havenstein is back, this is going to be the projected 5 that I think we should have, because Jonah Jackson, injuries. There's been injuries. He hasn't really had a chance to kind of step up and get in that game speed feel. So therefore, they're still trying to figure out the different combinations. But this combination we had for the Patriots, this is what's going to win us games, Jorge. This is what's going to get us back to that big dance.
That left side of the offensive line, it was just impenetrable. And you're not kidding about Limmer. And his position coach, also former center with the New England Patriots, so he really, really knows how to raise up a guy. I think you're right. Limmer, unsung hero, player of the game. I mean, I know, just fantastic. Those guys, and I was a little bit disappointed on the Monday Night Football game because because there was so much pressure on Stafford. But then I took a step back and I said, give these guys some grace. These guys, Avila and Jackson had not played a lot, and so they brought back Limmer, and Avila had another week, and they were just, I mean, Kyron Williams, when he ran to the left side, was just he just had room. He just
dominated.
Yeah, so I think just lean into that in this back half of the season, especially against some of those tough run defenses like with the 49ers and with the Eagles. But I think those guys are the more it's funny, the more we've learned about the fantasy industry, and about about the intricacies and analytics and everything like that. It so much comes down to that O-line. It really comes down to that O-line.
It literally affects the playbook. So it affects the coach. It affects the playbook. Yes. It affects the quarterback. It affects the running backs. And that's where I'm going to transition sidebar real quick, because you brought up Kyren Williams. A lot of people in the last pod, I tried to go out there and put out a flag like, listen, leave Kyren Williams alone. Like, the fantasy streets are saying he's a overrated workhorse. He's getting a bunch of volume. Look at his yards per carry. He's not efficient. He's not breaking tackles. All the analytical crack. But we're not looking at the O-line, people. What can he do? You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to be able to see Kyren Williams be the Kyren Williams that we saw last season. We're not going to be able to have a run game that could punch you in the mouth when we're having constant guys shifting on the O-line. And that also affects rookies in development with like Blake Corum. Yes. We're seeing him getting sprinkled in every single week. Snap here, snap there. Kyren needs a breath. Kyren needs to change his cleats. Whatever the case may be, we're seeing a little bit of Blake Corum, but I think we're being deprived of the ceiling of what Blake Corum has to offer to bring with this O-line constantly changing. So I'm going to ask you, do you think we've seen enough of Blake Corum to kind of have an understanding of where his talent can go? Or is he the best kept secret, and in playoffs he's going to go nuts?
I think he's a well-kept secret, but you know what? I really think that as long as Kyren is healthy, he's going to be getting the big lion's share of the rushing attempts. I think he's going to be getting anywhere from like 60 to 75% of the rushing attempts. I mean, he's going to be like in that 15 to 20 range a lot. And you know what? The thing is, I think you're right. People are kind of they're expecting him to go out there and have like Christian McCaffrey type of workload, or production prime Christian McCaffrey, or they're looking at that finish that he had last year where he was spectacular. I don't think he's that far away from that. And with this offensive line gelling like this, I think there's going to be some really, really good games ahead of him. I mean, this week may be tough sledding because the Eagles, their defensive line is no joke. But you know what? I think he's going to grind out some yards. But there's going to be some games where that he's going to really, really meld well in the offensive attack with the passing game. And I think he's going to be a foundational piece of this playoff run that the Rams are going to make, and people are going to make playoff runs in their fantasy leagues.
Oh, absolutely. Like we're going to talk a little fantasy, but not today. But more so, I want to transition now into the deep trenches. My favorite defensive line. It's one of those that you just like, oh, we're so back. We are dangerous again. Jared Verse causing complete havoc on the outside. And then you have Byron Young, who was already showing up last season, people. He was already showing these flashes. Like, I hear people on TV and media talking about Byron Young now as if he's this new, toy. No, this dude's been out here causing hell in the trenches for 2 seasons now. Yep. Now you give him Jared Verse to help and make that close and mesh. Oh, my God. And then the conductor, Kobe Turner.
Oh, yes.
One stuffer. Get after the quarterback with Braden Fisk with an unlimited motor. Oh, my God. We are so back, Jorge. I need your thoughts because I can go on a full excited rant for like 20 minutes.
You know what? Fisk coming up the middle, especially on that strip sack. I mean, I think it really, really was a microcosm of what the Rams what the Rams want to be. And honestly, this was kind of like going back to draft day when Jared Verse was the first defensive player picked, and the Rams got him in the middle of the first round. I mean, I seriously felt like we got a top 5 pick with that, and he has absolutely delivered. I mean, you need special players, and I really think he is special. And Fisk, his brother from Florida State, obviously he's a 2nd round pick. But I mean, again, you mentioned unlimited motor. They feed off of each other, and they've just been blended in well. I think honestly, this is one of the best defensive line. One of the best pass rushes in the NFL. The way this team has come along, because, like you mentioned, all those names, any one of them can get the quarterback. at any point, and they are making that secondary better because of the
Absolutely.
fact that quarterbacks are rushing throws. They're not getting beat deep because of the fact that they're getting good pressure. I think I love the marriage between the defensive line and the secondary in the passing game because I really think it's kind of come together in these past few weeks, and we're going to need it because we're going to see some good quarterbacks coming up, and I think it's going to be fun watching these guys kind of go toe to toe with some great offensive lines and maybe kind of get after it. I mean, I can't wait to see Jared Verse kind of like chasing down Jalen Hurts next week. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Oh, dámelo, vamos, caliente.
It's going to be one of those games I'm probably going to be standing up in front of the TV for about an hour just watching. Like happy, mad, whatever the case may be, all emotions will be invested on this game because you said it first. Like Jared Verse chasing Jalen Hurts. How is this going to affect Saquon Barkley? Or Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk going to stuff that middle? Or the linebackers going to come down and help us out like Omar Spates making that big-time fourth down stop? Like, these are guys we have. Like, this is our team, bro. Like, we got these guys. Homegrown young players. They're like 24, 25 in that range on that defensive line, meaning we got some years. We got some years with this as long as these guys stay healthy. Contracts make sense, obviously, because it all comes down to the bottom dollar. But we are sitting so pretty right now at the top of the NFL when it comes to QB pressures. This is where we're going to be winning games. And you have guys like Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk that I mentioned before stopping the run. And that's going to be so important this week against Saquon Barkley. I mean, are you scared of Saquon Barkley? Are you scared he might go loose on us and make us look a little fraudish?
Oh, I don't think he's going to do, his reverse matrix hurdle.
No, we ain't definitely letting that happen.
That was an alien. That was an alien type of move. I think you always got to respect what Saquon can do because he's a top 3 running back in the NFL. But you know what? Honestly, I think this is going to be a great test for the defense on how far they have come from the beginning of the season to now. And I think it's going to be good. Roseboom, I think, he's a sideline to sideline kind of guy too. I think he's going to
flying. Yes, he's flying. Yeah. Yes, he's flying left and right.
Oh God. That's why, players that are just come up and grown in the system. And I think it's, this is going to be a fun game. I'm glad that it's an island game and it's going to be, and it's going to be one we can really, really lock in on.
Might call out of work. Good Morning Football. If you're listening, I might call out. This game might get one of them games. It might be one of them games. And I'm up midnight, just oh my God, screaming. But on the West Coast, the game's that early. So
hey, West Coast, best coast. You've learned that now, right?
Yes, we're the best in the West, man. And I say that for the Rams. I can't diss my Jersey folks over there on the East Side. You know how I go, man.
But it's
coast to coast.
But isn't it nice that the game isn't finished, that Sunday night football and Monday night football don't end at midnight?
Look, I'm no longer an East Coast dad. Let's put it like that. I can no longer complain about being an East Coast dad, up with the kids. Like, oh my God, man, my kids were so young, when I was living in Jersey, and like, I remember holding my daughter and the game is on the line. I'm sitting here like, I can't scream. I can't scream, but God damn it, get the sack. Come on, AD 99. Oh my God, man. Like this.
I've had those too.
Yes, this is going to be one of those games this week that I think I'm going to be standing up, very passionate. I think, like, honestly, Jorge, I promise you in my heart, I believe we can win this game.
I think so. Well, it's here. So that's a big part. I think, this is going to be toe to toe. And the offensive line, as long as they give Stafford the time that he needs, I think it's gonna be fun.
With this same combination that we had last game needs to be in this game. We need to have a game plan of how to attack those DBs on the Eagles, because honestly, they are a scary defense. We used to poke fun of them those first couple of weeks of the game, but no, they locked it up, after week 4. So I really feel as though the key points of this game, we need to attack that secondary, run good fundamental ball, protect Matthew Stafford. That's it. We got the game. Let the defense do what they've been doing. Let Cooper Kupp and Puka flourish in what they do best. So before we get out of here, I want you to think about your Rams great. Like, you have to think about one player that you're like, man, this is just one of the greatest players in my time of being a Rams fan. But you cannot say Kurt Warner and you cannot say Aaron Donald.
So I'm going. This one's easy. I mean, mad respect. Aaron Donald, probably the greatest defensive player, if not, he's on the Mount.
He's greatest player ever to live.
Yeah. I'm going Eric Dickerson, number 29.
Ooh,
number 29 with that, I'm wearing my glasses for him. Just in honor. No, with the goggles.
Jerry curl.
The Jerry curl and the with the goggles and the big neck roll and the huge shoulder pads. But
what a time! What a time!
Number 29, he could fly. I remember when the Rams took him, and I was a kid, and I remember watching him at SMU. There was one particular play, and he was running on turf. He looked like the fastest man alive. I mean, it was probably like an 80-yard run just up the right sideline. I've tried to find that on YouTube, and I just haven't been able to had to look. But the way that the sideline markers, and he was the only one in the frame, and he was just flying. Everything was it was like speeded up. But no, this is a guy who had top level speed. He was one of the fastest players in the NFL, but he had power. He was big. He was, kind of like the next evolution after Jim Brown, the big running back who could fly. And that's why I love that he's gotten his flowers recently, where some people are recently on a Baltimore Ravens broadcast. I think it might've been Lisa Salters, reached out to Eric Dickerson asking him about the big tall upright running back who could fly, and it was like he was the forefather to Derrick Henry. But I loved it. I mean, he took the Rams they were number 2 pick in the draft for a reason. They were that bad. But how incredible. It's John Elway number 1, and then he's number 2. And then Dan Marino and Jim Kelly went later in that draft. I mean, those Hall of Famers right there. But when I think about Dickerson, I mean, it was power, it was grace, it was velocity. I mean, just those and in a big running back. I mean, yes. I loved watching Barry. I loved watching Sweetness. Emmett, LaDainian Tomlinson. But Eric Dickerson was 6'3", and he could. I mean, anybody, listen, familia, Sick Podcast Familia, if you want a treat, just go to YouTube and find Eric Dickerson highlights. And you will see one of the all-time great. I mean, he was, when the NFL 100 came out there was a reason why he was one of the top 10 running backs of all time, and just absolutely spectacular player. I love watching him. I actually got probably about 20 years ago or so. I was at an LA Fitness working out, and then he walked in the room, and I was just like,
how lucky are you, man?
You know what? And I just decided, I said, Eric, big fan. Thank you and he just was very graceful as he was on bench press. So wow. I didn't want to bug him too much, but no, I wish I had a camera phone at an iPhone at the time.
You didn't have no camera phone?
No, I was
what are you doing? Nokia flip?
I had the flip phone and everything like that with no. Yeah, it was. But no, I love players that are outliers like that. The big, strong, fast running back. And because again, I mean, he was also powerful. He was not afraid of contact. But great. There was a funny story. So he is the only guy to hit. Only 2 guys have hit 2,000 yards in less than 16 games. O.J. Simpson, number 1. We're not going to talk about him anymore. And Eric Dickerson did it in week 15. In the 1984 season, and absolute. And actually, the funny thing was, I actually got to see them that season. Now that I think about it,
that's a treat, man.
Yeah, against of all things, the New England Patriots. Unfortunately, they lost.
Damn cheaters.
Yeah, but it was. But yeah, just. But I've always loved outliers, players who are just different. Magic Johnson, 6'9" point guard. Those kind of players. Eric Dickerson is definitely an outlier, and I think when it comes to all-time greats, he gets some of his flowers, but I think he definitely deserves more. And I love that he's still a big part of the Rams family.
Absolutely. I was about to say he is still part of the family, and I absolutely love seeing him get his flowers. I mean, he was playing and trucking dudes and knocking helmets off, before I was born. But as a Rams fan, I absolutely went
Yeah.
back to see him causing hell because when we drafted Todd Gurley, I kept seeing the comparison. He's a big physical back, he's
Oh,
fast, and he will knock you on your ass. And I'm looking like, sounds very comparable to Eric Dickerson, but you are right. The power on this man, you do not want to run into him. Look at Steven Jackson, another big body freak that is running full speed. So the Rams have a type. We're in the new type in the modern day. I think we should get back to that eventually in the future of the drafts, but
well, let's find an outlier.
find an outlier. There you go.
But one thing there was a thought that I missed on. In getting 2,000 yards under 16 games, he got it in the 15th game. And he just barely squeaked by 2,000 yards. And then I remember that week, in the newspaper, when people read newspapers, they had an article come out about how he talked about having a dream where because I think he barely squeaked by. He was like at 2,002 yards or something. No, he had broken 2,003. So it was like 2004, 2005, 2006 yards, something like that. But he said he had a dream where he got knocked for a loss and came into the game. So and went under 2,000 yards.
It's not a dream. That's a nightmare, my friend. Like Jesus.
So luckily he got he that's why he got over 21. He got 2105. Had himself just a dream season, though. As crazy as it was, as great as the year as it was, that was also the year that Dan Marino went for 5,084 yards, and so he got the MVP.
Year.
Yeah,
man, I missed some good football. I was still in a thought, I guess, of being born.
That's why, and yes, after you go to the Eric Dickerson highlights, go to the Dan Marino highlights for that year because it looked like he was playing 7-on-7.
No, we just lost to the Dolphins. We're not doing that here. No, I told you we're not giving no love to any other team on this platform. I would respectfully say they're doing okay things, but we ain't giving no flowers. No.
All right, then we'll go to the Kurt Warner highlights.
There you go.
1999.
I get to see Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt go off, man. Listen, Marshall Faulk, the greatest show on turf. Listen, I don't know any better. I don't know any better because I was born into the greatest show on turf. I became a fan in 98, 99, and I was so blessed to fall in love with the game, and they actually win a Super Bowl. I mean, Mike Jones with the tackle. I mean, I used to lie and tell people, he's my uncle. Yeah, my uncle made that Super Bowl. I'm a Rams. Come on. It was such a great time, and it's still a great time to be a Rams fan.
Did I ever tell you that I have a friend who had a former work colleague who had the Rams at 250 to 1 that year, $20, 250 to 1.
Wow.
And really? Yeah, so $5,000. Pulled $5,000, but it was one of those things. He always
$5,000 was like $500,000.
The what?
Well, back when $5,000 was $500,000 in reality.
Yes. It was like, and I was like, how did you know? He goes, no, I just put it. Every year I'd go to Vegas, and put $20 on the Rams to win the Super Bowl, and it's like I didn't think you were going to do that, but
wow,
what a hot ticket. But yeah, what an amazing that was an amazing run. That was, yeah.
My brother, man.
And Mike Jones saved that Super Bowl. God love him.
Yes. Listen, my brother, I love talking Rams with you, and I'm so happy you were able to put the time aside to come join me on my platform, the Sick Podcast Rams Recap, and I definitely want to have you back, brother.
Oh man, well, hopefully, playoff run's going to be coming, so we know that's going to be happening. So
I might be look that the Grays might be gray. And I might be stressed out around playoff time because we're dangerous again, but I didn't like how we exited last season against Jared Goff. So let's get it done this year. Let's put all the storylines to the side. Let's get another ring. Let's get another ring.
Yes.
All right, my brother. Where can they find you and your work, man? Plug everything that you got, man.
Yeah, well, Twitter, you find me at Jorge Martin 17. So I pump out all my content through there. FantasyLife.com. One of the things that I've been doing on regular, our good friend and fellow Cookout Group member, Chris Allen, and I do a weekly injury report. So and we pump it out every Friday, and I update it all through the weekend. Also, if for on the fantasy side, so go to fantasylife.com. All our content is out there. It's all the written content is free. So, and there's some amazing work out there. Also, make sure you check out Guillotine Leagues. Just for the season. That. Oh my goodness, mi amigo. You will give up Dynasty. You will give up other forms to add Guillotine League.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I already got enough going on in my life.
Oh, I'm telling you, you're at least going to do one Guillotine League next year, because when a team gets chopped, the fab pool becomes it's not, you're not going after like, Audric Estime. No, you're picking up Justin Jefferson. You're picking up Amon-Ra St. Brown. This week in my league, I'm down to like the last 6. Travis Kelce, Lamar Jackson, and Jonathan Taylor are all
Wow.
available. So it's just like,
you sparked my interest, my brother. You sparked my interest.
I'm unloading. I'm unloading. Yeah. And so it's amazing. It's amazing playing that. Also the Fantasy Life Plus, it changed the way I play fantasy. I mean,
nice.
Getting the utilization data that Dwayne McFarland put together is just kind of like seeing the raw numbers, snap shares, and utilization scores and everything like that. Incredibles. And but the other thing that's free, the Fantasy Life newsletter and the Betting Life newsletter. So you get in your email every morning, and I personally edit it, and sometimes I write a little, some sections. But yes, make sure to get that in your inbox. You get just a daily dose of fantasy and betting content, and it's just fantastic.
Love that, man. I'm glad you're booked and busy, man. You're doing great things over there at Fantasy Life. I love seeing you ascending, brother, especially in this industry and behind the scenes, man. You've always been a great friend to me and giving me opportunities outside there. And we always chat Rams. We always going to be drinking the tequila shots. The special edition of the Rams.
Oh my goodness.
Sammy, I don't know if I was able to show that on there. I don't know. We'll edit that out. But listen, thank you for coming by, my brother. I hope to have you back, man. But this is the Sick Podcast. Rams Recap. It's your boy LQ, Mr. Real Deal Fantasy HQ. You see the face, you know the case. Fire content only. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribe, and hit that bell before you get out of here. Peace.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.